Hey guys, it's Miss Coconut, and I'm back with another tinfoil hat edition, the Royal Illuminati Wedding. We all know that Prince Harry does all them weird symbols that all the Illuminati people do. But this is not really about that. This is more about the fact that we all believe that he swept this commoner off her feet, and we have this English American fairy tale. And I don't think that's the case. I think there's something more sinister going on here. I don't know what it is. What I can tell you, this is not the first American to marry into royalty, and it won't be the last. It has ended tragically for some of the princesses that did marry into the royal bloodline. So we're praying that's not the case here. Now, first of all, what struck me as odd with this relationship is the way it started. Literally, they tell us that a mutual friend, and how does a common American actress having a mutual friend with a Prince of England? I don't know. So anyway, a mutual friend says, "Hey Harry, have you ever met Meghan?" And apparently he meets her and he falls in love the first day. Well, when I look into her friends are like all tied into very prominent London families, like Lindsay Roth and Misha Nunu and Alexander Giles. I think he's like the prince's friend and was married to one of her friends. I mean, it's just this like bizarre soup. Megan grew up in a divorced home. So she lived with her mom and her dad, who is white. So let me backtrack. The mom is black, the dad is white, and she lived with her mom. But she did say growing up, she had a good relationship with her dad, and she would visit him on set because he was like some kind of lighting director. So she would visit him on set every day. And she basically grew up in TV La La Land. So, that's the first indicator this is some Illuminati stuff. Because she did a segment for Nickelodeon, and we know all them babies come out messed up and crazy. That is like the number one breeding ground for Looney Tunes. So who's to say she hasn't been groomed to be part of this whole monarch butterfly affair? But around age 18, it's been reported that she was saying, oh, my dad lives in Hollywood. She was talking to a friend, that's his house over there, but we're not on good terms, so I'm not going to go see him. So there is some differing reports here on her relationship with her family. I can tell you, I think her mother was the only family member at this wedding. How odd is that? This is crazy. Her father kept talking about how he wanted to walk her down the aisle on this big day. And then who wouldn't? God, you're marrying into a royal family. Of course, that's very auspicious. And her dad wanted to walk her down, but apparently he started to sell some pictures or tried to sell pictures of her and maybe try to make a story out of it. I don't know the whole thing. And he came down with an illness. So apparently a few days before he was supposed to fly out, he had heart surgery. He's stressed out. He's bankrupt 2 years ago. And I don't know what does that have to do with anything this year. And now he had to back out. And they made an official statement saying that her dad would not be at this royal wedding. Oh my God, that's sad. I think. I don't know their history. And then her brother wrote a letter to Prince Harry telling him why he shouldn't marry her, and her sister hates her. This is some royal redneck madness. So she has a crazy family history. I don't know what's going on with that. But newsflash, she is not the first cafe au lait woman to be in the royal household. First of all, if you do your history, you know that the Moors went all over the world and they were part of the ruling elite and ruling royalty in many lands and countries, and that blood is still there. Second of all, I would say be cautious of fairy tales because we know fairy tales don't exist. So the idea that Prince Harry, out of all the blonde, blue-eyed women that he's loved, decided he had to just come marry this commoner, yeah, that reeks of conspiracy. But Someone did Ancestry.com and states that they have a common ancestor. And in fact, at some point, one of his ancestors beheaded one of her ancestors. Look up Anne Boleyn. I mean, this story just gets juicier and juicier. We know that oftentimes these royals were not allowed to marry commoners. Look at the Duchess of Windsor, Wallis Simpson, King Edward, I think she married him and he had to abdicate the throne. That was a good story. Y'all should look that one up. And her backstory of her retiring into obscurity after he died is strange. Something's up there. And we know, beautiful Princess Diana, she wasn't necessarily royal blood. And Grace Kelly, she was an American actress and she actually married into a royal family. Of course, these ended up tragic, very tragic. So the blue bloods tend to stick with their own. And even Prince Charles, he was cheating on Diana the whole time. He eventually got the rules changed and he was able to marry his mistress, Camilla Parker Bowles. Blue blood, so they usually stick to their own. They like to inbreed a lot too. That's why they got all them crazy babies running around in the attic. You ever read those English novels? They always have this crazy baby in the attic. But the term blue blood comes from the fact that the royal and the leading elite didn't work out in the sun. And so their skin was translucent, like Edward from Twilight. And you could see the veins popping out. And they used to eat off silver, like real silver, and that metal would seep into the blood and it would actually cause a condition whereas you can see the blue veins in their through their skin. And so the fact that they're Rh negative blood type, 0 O type, all of that leads to that term blue blood. So times are changing, I guess, but I think it is for a reason. So let me tell you 2 things I found out that I thought was interesting. Well, two conspiracies. The first conspiracy is that she's a transgender. And they say like her jaw is wide, she has no hips, her feet are big, etc. If you ever seen those videos, they'll explain that to you. And I don't think that's true because I saw pictures of her growing up. However, Charlize Theron is an American actress. Well, she's a South African actress in America. She has adopted a little black boy and she's turning the little black boy into a little black girl. And in about 20 years, no one will remember that. So this child will grow up transgendered and no one will ever know that's not a man because they will always look at it as a woman because that's how he was raised or she was raised or whatever the politically correct term is, because this is not about transgender. So don't come for me, okay? This is more about what is the royal household hiding, because everyone says that whole line is transgendered. I don't know why they would do that. I don't understand that theory, but that's what they say. The second theory I thought was, when the Duke and the Duchess have children, is it possible that the child could get dual citizenship and eventually run for U.S. presidency, possibly making it the first time that an English person would sit on an American president's seat? Something to think about. I don't know all my laws there, so I can't say if that is a possible scenario because we're talking about 30, 40 years in the future. But we know one thing about the Illuminati, they plan everything out in detail. When you look at Meghan's friends, for example, she's friends with Serena Williams. I'm like, what? And then she's friends with people that are who's who in London, like her friend Lindsay Ross and Misha Nunu and that Priyanka Chopra lady. Like they all have ties to London. They're either prominent families in London, they work in London for famous law firms. Like it's a very strange circle when you think about she supposedly is just a black girl from America. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just reporting the news. So, Illuminati wedding, who knows? It was a very nice affair. It wasn't like Diana's, of course, but I could be partial. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, Om Shrim Prezi.